In this video, I would like to give you an update on the controversy around the person of Hans Niemann, as he just finished a fantastic tournament in Croatia, Zagreb, scoring 8 out of 9, an almost 3000 performance rating, and that brings him on the live rating very close to 2700, which is the absolute elite in chess. Now, immediately after this tournament, Hans traveled to London to start a new tournament there. He played his first round. I will show you the game later. But in between, a lot of things have happened and a lot of people have spoken out. And I will give you an update on that. First things first, I want to make a rectification, because in one of my previous videos about the game of Hans Niemann against the top trainer Ivan Sokolov, I said that in a tweet from some months ago, which was in fact more than a year ago, Ivan Sokolov took stance against the cheating experiences of Hans Niemann. Well, that was absolutely incorrect. I want to have that made very clear, that the tweet I was referring to, which was posted on October 7, 2022, Ivan Sokolov said that many claim cheating online is not as bad as over the board cheating. Sorry, it's exactly the same. And he also mentioned that cheating means like a lifetime ban and the game has to be clean. He didn't mention Hans at all. That was my mistake. I was thinking, because all the cheating story, it was revolving around Hans. It was directed at him, but it was more like a general statement of Ivan. So my apologies to him and to all of you who felt this was an incorrect judgment from my side. So here, having this corrected, let's get back to this tournament in Zagreb, because after the tournament, other people spoke out as well, including the tournament organizer, because the tournament organizer revealed to Norwegian newspaper Aftenposten that Niemann's performance is out of this world. We have no definite proof that he is cheating. We have some indications, but we don't know if anyone wants to report him. Well, that's a very strong statement. And later, one of the other players of the tournament, Ivan Cheparinov from Bulgaria, he also posted things on Twitter that he was very impressed by Hans's performance, but it was not really clear to me whether he was sarcastic or just 100% serious. At least he wanted to say that as a chess player, I'm really disappointed from the organization. In such strong and nice tournament nowadays, it's not acceptable not to have any anti-cheating measures. Only a 15 minutes delay was applied there. I think later they adjusted it to 30 minutes broadcast delay, but that's definitely not enough for Ivan Cheparinov and many other people. So that's fascinating. And well, of course, also Hans spoke out, and after traveling to London, he arrived there, he played a game, and after the game he posted the message on Twitter, X nowadays, that unbothered, unfazed, undaunted, and the chess is speaking and will always speak for itself. Now you're fully updated again. Once again, my apologies for what I said to Ivan Sokolov. That was not my intention. Let's get back to the chess, because Hans played his first round game with the black pieces against French Grandmaster Jules Moussard, and I will show you what happened in that game. So it starts with the move e4, and Hans sticks to his most solid opening as black. After knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, the Spanish opening, Hans goes for the Berlin defense. Castling kingside, knight takes e4, rook e1, attacking the knight on e4, knight e6, knight takes e5, bishop e7, bishop f1, knight takes e5, rook takes e5, castling kingside d4. This is all still very well-known theory. Hundreds, thousands of games have been played with it. In such positions, it looks as if white is always a little bit better. The symmetry usually favors the side with more active pieces, and even though black is kind of close to be fully developed, the knight on d6 looks a little bit strange. Let's say had the knight not been standing in the way of d-pawn, or the d-pawn would have been on d5, black could just easily bring out the bishop from c8. Well, rook e8 was played here, and now the move bishop f4 on the board, so that after rook takes e1, queen takes e1, we have an interesting moment, because black has this possibility to take the pawn on d4, which was actually played in an earlier game by Hans Niemann back in 2021, playing with the black pieces against Bella Sene. Hans took on d4, and after bishop takes d6, c takes d6. Okay, black has an extra pawn, but these doubled pawns, they are not the nicest, of course. And after a move like knight c3, white is about to put a rook on d1, and white is having a small edge here, I would say, just because of these ugly doubled pawns and free piece play. White can definitely put some pressure. So for that reason, Hans deviated from that game, played instead of taking the pawn on d4 here the move knight e8, which may seem like amateurish if you see such a move for the first time, why the knight goes back, but you understand that the pawn wants to come to d5 so that the bishop can join play. And that's exactly what happens. White played the move c3 to protect the pawn, d5 is played, and even here, still very well-known opening theory, as Hans had this very exact position earlier in this year in the Dubai Open against a player from Iran, Tabatabai, and I think they have been working together. They are good friends, so the game ended relatively peaceful in just 30 moves. In that game, the move bishop d3 was played, preventing black's bishop from getting out to f5, but in that case, black is going to play g6, knight g7, followed by bishop f5. There are no problems here for black at all. So Jules Moussard goes for a different plan with the move knight to d2, then the bishop can come to f5, which is a nice place for the bishop, so white's bishop cannot become active there, but white played here the move queen e3, and after the move c6, rook e1 is played, so white occupies the only open file. If I would have to pick a side, it's definitely white, but that's because of the open file. But what is white exactly going to do with that open file? All the entry squares are covered by black's pieces, so black is still pretty much in control. Played here the move h6, and well, in this position, few moves have been tried here. You can try to improve your knight either via f3 or b3. You can make a useful waiting move like h3, but Moussard played here the move queen g3, which is by far the most direct approach, as white is about to take the pawn on h6, as the pawn on g7 is pinned, so black got to do something about that. There followed the move bishop g5, which is a very solid move, so that you can try to neutralize white's initiative by trading off a lot of pieces. But here Moussard doesn't want to exchange bishops yet, but instead he played this move, h4. That's a funny move in the sense that, well, you're attacking the bishop and black got to do something about it, bishop. And if you're careless and just take the pawn, well, there's this little tactical idea with the move rook takes e8. You have a deflection motive, forcing the queen to recapture, after which the bishop on h4 can just be taken, and well, it's a position with bishop and knight versus rook and pawn, but it's clear that the white pieces, they are working nicer together. So that's not a good move, and it's much better here to play the move bishop takes f4, trading off bishops. After queen takes f4, the queen comes out to f6, so everything is still under control. The bishop is protected. White played here the move knight f3, and here black aims for further exchanges with the move bishop e4, intending to ruin the structure by taking on f3. Of course, the queen on f4 is hanging as well, so white captures first, queen takes f6, knight takes f6, and the knight comes into to e5, avoiding that trade of bishop for the knight, but, well, bishop just comes back. White played the move f3, and white is about just to try to grab some space on the king side with a move like g4. It's not much, but it looks like white can try to play a little here. But another good move by Hans, as he further intends to trade off pieces with the move knight d7, offering the exchange of knights. There followed the move g4. Knight takes e5 was played. Of course, the bishop cannot be taken here because of knight takes f3, and the rook on e1 will be hanging due to a knight fork. So here the question is, how is white gonna recapture? In the game there followed the solid move rook takes e5, which makes sense to retain control over the open file, but maybe if you want to play for something, and I don't think it's really much at all, you may consider taking back with the e-pawn so that you do split the board in 2 parts. Now black has a majority on the queen side of 4 versus 3, and white may try to push its f-pawn to f5. Of course, if the bishop goes back to e6, you first have to bring your king to g3 to protect the pawn on g4 one more time. Then you can try to advance the pawn. Frankly, I don't think this is anything, but well, it's at least an attempt to keep some play in the position. But well, that didn't happen. Rook takes e5 was played. The bishop goes back to d7, and now finally there's a moment where the rook can come into black's position with the move rook e7. It was not played in the game because apart from that you're attacking this bishop on d7, the rook is not on a stable square. Black is gonna reply here with the move rook d8, and after bishop d3, black goes king f8, kicks the rook out, and after that there's rook e8. Rooks will be exchanged. There's absolutely no problem here at all for black. So there followed the move king f2, rook e8. Now black is just in time to offer the exchange of rooks, rook takes, bishop takes. We have this endgame in which you would expect white's bishop to be a little bit better because the pawns are fixed on the light squares. But after king e3, there followed the move g5. That's another very precise move. Pawn takes, so now the pawns on the king side are fixed on white's color of bishop. And after f4, f6, there's absolutely nothing white can do. There's no way the white king is able to infiltrate via the center. All the squares have been covered. And after the move f5, Hans played the move king f8 over the draw because the king will come to the center and there's no way for white to break through. So this is a very solid start by Hans in this first round of the London Chess Classic. And as he said, unbothered, unfazed, undaunted. And well, that's something we will keep in mind for the remaining part of this tournament. Let's see how the tournament is going and if there will be other developments regarding Hans's tournament play. Let's see. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon back again. Bye bye.